Welcome, everybody, again for another episode of the ABJ Podcast. Coming up on a new month, grinding here, episode 34 with Boom Harden, who I will bring in here in a minute. Just going to go over some housekeeping. If you want to support the ABJ Podcast, links are below for all things ABJ. Merchandise, follow me on social media, Patreons, how to find the podcast if you're watching this live on YouTube, if you want to listen to it in your car for audio-only platforms. A little bit of news there on that front. We just hit 500 plays. So this just started in October, and we're already over the 500 plays mark, which is insane to me. So thank you, everyone who's been watching and listening to the podcast, either on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or the audio side of things, which has been amazing. I do have a review that came in on the Billy Trey episode. So Scott Veal says, ABJ, flawless as always, and Mr. Billy Trey bringing stories of the tour to life. Definitely keen for more of this. So that was one of our music episodes with Converse Kid, Billy Trey, who is the intro music of the podcast. So thank you, Scott, for the review. If you are listening on Spotify, there is a What Did You Think About This Episode tab. You can leave a review as well as Apple Podcasts. And if they come in, I will read them on the podcast. So thank you guys so much for that support. Also, links below for Philly Mike Swanson and Adina Steele, still in the recovery process. Anything we can do to help them out because they are not working and slowly getting back to work. Philly Mike, I've been taking physical therapy 2 times a week. He is officially out of a leg brace, the big metal brace that's going on. So that's super cool for him. So he's had a little bit of graduation PT today. So super excited for that. Adina's, she said she's very close on herself when it comes to her recovery as well. So any support, follow him on social media, subscription services, t-shirts, merchandise, the whole nine, as well as links for my guest. You can follow him on social media. His links are below as well. Without further ado, let's bring him in. The one, the only. Oh, crap, I forgot one more thing. Sorry, one more thing. I looked down in the corner before I add the stream. We are sponsored. Finally got a sponsor to the podcast, so thank you guys so much. So elevate your style with Frackville's brand Elevation 1470. Elevation 1470 is a reinventing style, bringing traditional and nostalgic apparel to Frackville and the surrounding areas of School County. We pride ourselves on hometown heritage and community. Elevation 1470 is where the trail begins. You can find them at www.elevation1470.com to find all the latest and traditional and nostalgic styles of clothing in School County, Pennsylvania. So huge thanks to those guys for the sponsorship. I like to support my local thing, and that's where I'm from, School County, and a lot of really cool merchandise there. And it kind of all caters to our area. So, and the guy who takes the funds and puts it to different things that he's looking forward to doing in the area for events and stuff like that. So super cool brand. Thank you guys for the sponsorship. If you want to sponsor all that cool stuff, hit me up. We'll figure it out. Without further ado, Boom Harden. What's going on, my guy?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Sorry that I about to bring in and then cut back. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I have to adjust my posture on my chair. That's all.
Yeah, I was getting hyped. I was ready to get in and back out.
Yeah.
But man, I crossed paths with you. You've been around for a minute, but I'm still new to the Jersey scene, so I haven't really been exposed to you for a good bit of your career. We'll get into most of that in a minute. But man, you're fun to watch, my guy. You are in a tag team right now with Deshaun, CMD. Been seeing you guys a lot. Contest of Champions, Short Star Wrestling, which is a promotion that we both kind of work in the Jersey area. Just got done wrapping up a show there. Another one coming in June. First weekend of June, if I'm not mistaken.
Monsoon 2. That's the date. June 2nd. Monsoon 2.
Yes, it's going to be exciting. You guys are putting together some great matches. A lot of fun chemistry. You guys were dancing and having a blast during at the autograph tables. Very, very fun to watch. And you're always a joy to hang out with. But I appreciate you coming on the podcast and having a conversation with me. That means a lot, man.
Thank you. Happy to be here. And just working with Deshaun Pratt's really been probably the most positive thing that's ever happened in my career. I just have to get that out of the way immediately.
Yeah. I you know how like in Japan they say like the ace of a company and that kind of carries over to anywhere. I think Deshaun is literally ace of any promotion that wants to have him aboard. He's good, man. And he, like you said, brings that positive energy. And he's a guy, and I've said it numerous times in the podcast. I'm a Deshaun Mark, been always for a minute, but not only is he just a really good talent to watch, but just a good human being to be around. And he just brings an energy to a locker room that that is not replicated by anybody else. And he's so giving to the business. The guy's been doing it forever. He's one of the first independent wrestlers to break the internet with a viral clip. And he's still going to seminars. He's still always trying to learn. He's training people now at CZW. The guy is just amazing.
100% totally agree. And while I'm here, I do want to say, if you guys want to get right with me and Prince CMD Deshaun Pratt, come down to CZW Dojo every Thursday night. We're open about Monday and Tuesday and Thursday, but Thursday night for Deshaun, come get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good talent out of that CZW dojo. I'm a big Matt Quay guy. I like him a lot. Ian Bush is working a lot in CZW. That's a fun place to be. And like I said, if you're going to train and you want to get in the business, you're in the Jersey area, definitely hit him up. But with all that being said, man, one of the first ways I like to get this started and figure out about you and learn about you is this insane thing we call the wrestling business. If you know, you know, and if you're behind the curtain, you know how crazy it can be at sometimes. When did you catch the bug and become a fan of professional wrestling?
I first became a fan of professional wrestling, I want to say, when I was about 6 years old. And I became a fan because I had an older cousin, and he was very big in SmackDown vs. Raw video games. Whenever I'd spend time with him, he'd have SVR06 on. I started playing SVR06, fell in love with wrestling, and then I want to say the next year I started watching wrestling, like slowly but surely, like SmackDown, then Raw, then ECW, and then at some point I decided I want to be a professional wrestler.
I love that. It's crazy how I can date you exactly by what video game you said by wrestling.
Oh.
You're like, I played this game. You're like, oh wow, okay, I see the gap there. I can't really brag about my wrestling games because back then they were not as good. But I'm talking like Super Nintendo wrestling games. Not awesome. But yeah, man, SmackDown vs. Raws were fun. They were good times, man. Really fun games. So the video games found wrestling through that. Who were some of the characters you would pick that caught your eye right off the bat?
I want to say definitely The Undertaker, definitely Kane, a lot of Batista, and a lot of Kurt Angle as well.
Yeah, Kurt Angle was a beast in that game, man. The Olympic Slam is still one of my favorite moves. So once you started watching, who are some people then after kind of tying the video game into real life? Who are some people you start attaching yourself to and being like, oh, so they're some of the people you just follow throughout their career?
Throughout the career so far, definitely The Undertaker. He was just somebody that I always gravitated towards, like, very closely. I also want to say MVP and very much Rey Mysterio. A whole lot of Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm. So going through your journey there and becoming a wrestling fan and then saying you wanted to do it yourself, at what age did you find out, okay, I'm going to go to a school, I'm going to start training? And how did you go about that process? Because a lot of people, that's where they struggle. They're like, I didn't know there was a school this close to me. Or how did you go about that process of finding your school and landing your first home?
So I want to say I turned about 13 and I decided that I wanted to pursue professional wrestling as full time as my career. There's like a few years where like I was kind of like out of wrestling, but then like I want to say my early tween years, I very much became heavy in like the internet wrestling community, like figuring out more stuff about wrestling. I decided this is what I want to do. So I Googled a whole bunch of wrestling schools in the New Jersey area, and I found the CW Dojo. Around the time I was 14, it took me a lot of gumption. Keep in mind, like you're a 14-year-old kid,
Yeah,
never really talked to anybody about wrestling at all, and I gathered up the gumption. I called DJ Hyde from CZW. I asked him all the information about the school, and I want to say I didn't actually go in for my tryout until about a year. But before then, before I actually had my tryout with CZW, I was still spending time with different shows like ECWA when they used to run in Woodbury Heights.
mm-hmm.
Because one of the things on my trek about trying to find about professional wrestling is that I learned about the concept of paying your dues or helping out at shows for better opportunity. And so I was pretty much on that from the time I was 14 up until the point I did start training in October of 2016 with CZW.
Wow, that's like I said, like when I was learning some stuff about you, I knew you were in it for a minute, but I didn't know that you were in it that early. That is amazing, and I mean that's got to be a supportive family system there too. If your parents are taking you to shows at 13 or 14 and letting you be involved in the business that early, so that support was always there as well.
Oh yeah. More so for my dad and my mom, but eventually my mom did come along when she realized there was no shaking me out of this. But yeah, I have like some of the most supportive and wonderful parents that God can ever ask for, and I'm
Yeah,
truly blessed to have them.
I couldn't imagine a world where two parents were like 13, 14-year-old kid, and you're like, yo, okay, can you take me to independent wrestling show so I can help pay my dues and set up rings and stuff? And they're like, yeah, no, you're gonna go to school and college. You know what I mean? Like trying to like go that way. But no, the fact that they leaned into it is super, super dope. That's cool. I think the only other person who has a similar story to you that I've talked to so far is Nolan Pierce. Kid's been in the business for a minute, and his parents are the same way. They'll drive him 200 miles to a school if they feel it's a better opportunity for him. It's really, really cool to see that. So yeah, man, paying your dues for a minute. So CZW was kind of like your landing point, and even to this day, you're still kind of rocking with them.
Yeah. So CZW has always been like a dream of mine, and it's very weird looking back as a kid who was a CZW fan, and now to be like a foundational piece of what CZW is currently. It's still pretty jarring, and like honestly, a dream come true.
Listen, man, CZW speaks for itself. When people look back at where a lot of independent wrestling is right now, or who came out of there, are iconic moments in independent wrestling. CZW has a stamp on it. You know what I mean? They have some. They are the birthplace for what we now know for a lot of different wrestling promotions and names that are pretty big as currently in professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's definitely a torch that I take a lot of great pride in carrying, and we actually look to carry that torch even further with what we're doing in March 5th over in Harvard Grace, Maryland, because we're having a CW Limelight show. And Limelight's a series of shows that we do over in Maryland consistently, and this show we're doing the Chris Cash Memorial Ladder Match, of which CMD is representing themselves for the CZW Tag Team Championships.
Yeah. Now, who's currently the champions right now in CZW?
There are no champions right now because
this is like an introductory title.
Yes, because CCW, when we came back from post-pandemic, we made a mission like try to like reset everything. Not very much in the WCW vein, but just understanding, just give a new start. The previous champions were the Rep, and they willingly give up the championships so they could be cared for eventually. And the time has come to crown new champions. It's going to be CMD versus the Rep versus the Post Game versus Milk Chocolate.
Wow. And that's going to happen in Maryland.
Yes, the Chris Cash Memorial Ladder Match at CZW Limelight in Harvard Grace, Maryland.
Now, if people wanted to go back and check out the CZW library, where are they found? Are they a YouTube brand? Are they an IWTV, Fight TV? Where are they located?
The Premier Network. They're located on the Premier Network right now.
Premier Network. Okay. That's huge. A lot of people like they want to support independent wrestling, but it's scattered all over the place of where they can do stuff. So is that like an app they can download at premiernetwork.com?
Yes, Premier. Yes, it's a new streaming service, a brand new streaming service. A lot of different companies are on there, and CW is like really leading the forefront of that with all the back library and history throughout all the years.
Yeah, Kai Rivas in the chat says, when I think CCW, the name that always comes to mind is Sick Nick Mondo. The man was insane.
Yo, so honestly, when I was looking back on my years, like finding about wrestling, a lot of things I would do is try to pick up documentaries, because like documentaries, you're a kid, you want to learn how do you become a wrestler. And I found a Nick Mondo documentary that he had made, I want to say like just after he retired. And that like really put me on to like CW, like, oh my God, who's this guy? Nick Mondo, what's he doing? Whoa. So Mondo's very much a guy that I admire, love, and sometimes hope to emulate.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, going through training, when did you finally those dues paid off and you finally got to step in the ring and make your debut? Who was your debut match, if you could recall back? And what can you remember, like your feeling of finally, paying those dues? Because like I said, 13, 14-year-old, you have a journey. You're not getting in there right away. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe Jersey's a little different because Jersey's like the Wild West when it comes to professional wrestling. Anything can happen is going to happen in New Jersey. But take us back to that moment, if you can recall that far back, of your debut.
So I actually have two versions of my debut, one official, one unofficial. I do have to say that my first ever professional wrestling match happened, I believe, in July of 2017. It was a birthday party, and I was put into a battle royal. Matt Tremont, he had a ring rental. I came along and helped out. I was able to be in a battle royal. But it was a pretty like flash in the pan thing, but it's an experience I'm very appreciative of.
Mm-hmm.
But my official debut came at a Dojo Wars event, and my opponent was Tulpa. And at that point, I've been training for about 14 months. I was very much a I was always a very hard worker, I do believe, but some things came slower than others. And I just remember that feeling of just, I'm really wrestling right now. And that's just something I've always wanted to recapture.
Now, when you pretty much have you're very high energy. Even when you're out in front of the crowd and you're doing your thing, you're very high energy. You're very in the moment. Is that something that is just you naturally all the time? Is that something that when you kind of hit the curtain? Because I always say if the one of my favorite things is I was a podcaster, wrestling fan, converted into commentary, and I still to this day don't know how I got involved in this business. And I'm super thankful for it that I was welcomed in and given that access behind the curtain because I think it's an honor to be back there and to be in locker rooms with such amazing talent all over the Northeast area. But that one moment, like if I'm not on commentary or if I'm in that thing, I think my favorite moment to kind of capture and see is that second or two before the talent hits the curtain when that transformation hits. Now, do you have that moment where the transformation hits, or is your character kind of just you turned to 11?
I think it fluctuates. I think that there's sometimes where I'm always me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always me. I always want to be the fullest me that I can possibly be. But I think that sometimes, depending on like the gravity of the match that's in front of me, I need to lock in a bit earlier than others. Where sometimes, if it's a situation where maybe I'm not as anxious or as nervous going in, I can take a little bit more time getting it. Where like if something that's like I want it, it's right there in front of me. It's like I don't know. It's a very transformative thing. Can't really explain it.
Yeah, it's insane. Like especially when someone's very character driven and you see that moment right before the curtain where they just like it literally looks like they go into a trance and they just transform into a different person. And some people are so good at it, like their posture changes, their eyes, their demeanor. It looks like they're possessed. I cannot explain it to any other person. It's such a cool, magical moment. The first time I really got to capture that was IWTV 100. We were kind of right there in Gorilla at H2O. Right where the sound booth is. My buddy was doing sound, and it was me, him, and Kaya McKenna standing there and just watching talent. And you're watching the new H2O students hit the ring and they're doing that ladder match to find out who's going to go for the number one contendership for the IWTV title. Then you're watching young Marcus Mathers at that point. And then you have like Wheeler and Orange Cassidy and all these names coming through. And you decide to see them like, are you ready? You ready? Cool, cool. And they just like, and then they hit the curtain. It's I don't know. It's beautiful. It's such a cool business, man. But yeah, that is really one of my favorite things to kind of see if I'm not working or in a serious role that day. It's kind of somewhere I try to camp out a little bit and kind of just see that moment because I think it's really special.
No, it's really a special thing.
Yeah. So yeah, you in your journey, how many different have you gone through different character changes? I know I was kind of told at one point you donned a mask for a little bit.
Okay, so full disclosure. When I first started having regular matches, it wasn't as me. I didn't have official gear yet.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I found out I was wrestling was literally day of. In the CW page, Preacher Phineas James, one of my trainers. At the time, he was in charge of the Dojo Wars program, and that night was going to be very undermanned. And he made a post saying that if you are able to wrestle, come to the show with your stuff. And so, me being me, I had off school that day. I was still in high school at the point. I commented under, does that include me? And he said, yes. So I literally like went on like a mad dash gathering of any sort of athletic wear, like attire I had, and beginning to the school. Somebody had somebody had an old Rey Mysterio mask. I had this Stone Cold hat. I had Toy Rat, and I'm like, I can't take myself seriously like this. I'm just
You're like a creator wrestler in a video game.
not even, dude, like way worse than that. And so, like, I don't know. In that moment, I kind of say, just call me El Cheapo. And then I went out and I changed my voice. It was like a whole thing. I donned an entirely different persona. It was just like one of those things where I was just being stupid, applying like what I learned, and somehow it ended up working. And I was El Cheapo for pretty much the next first year of my career.
Yeah, we're gonna tie this into later because there's some parallels here to you and once again your partner. So you started, character working, which I think honestly, maybe this is my opinion, but I think if you're going to be new to the game and unless you're built like a brick shit house and you're huge and you're Brock Lesnar and you can bench press 800 pounds, everyone in your first year, don't be the tough guy wrestler. Like, insert my normal name here, and I'm just here to beat people up. Get a little goofy. You know what I'm saying? I think if you could figure out the character work, you're gonna learn how you have to work the crowd first. And I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people miss is connecting with the crowd. Everybody wants to go out and do the 450s and 800 super kicks and jump off the ropes and do cool things or be the powerhouse. But I think the real special talent that lasts the test of time start doing exactly what you did. Just like, all right, oh, I'm here. All right, I got to find a way to connect and find my spot. And honestly, I think those talent that do that last longer and they have a better connection and they know how to grab a crowd. And then when they take the mask off or they get where they need to be, they've already learned those steps because they went through that process.
Yeah, crowd connection has always been very big to me. It was very much one of those foundational things that I was always taught in wrestling, and then I've always tried to apply as best I know how.
Mm-hmm. Now, this long journey, have you had? We have two people now that we have in the links in the bio for injuries or anything like that. Have you had any major setbacks in your career?
Not necessarily. I don't believe I had any major setbacks. I think I had times where I just needed a little breather from things, but even that was never more so than a month.
Yeah.
Like I never like really had like any major setbacks, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I'm glad because that injuries can be a bit crazy, crazy thing. So just to kind of date here, the date. What was like the year of your first match?
The year for my first match was 2017.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Now since 2017 till currently, titles have you held? Like, how many titles have you held, or solo titles, tag team?
So as the persona of El Cheapo, I have held the Medal of Valor from Dojo Wars for a total of 1 week, 7 days. And besides
Still
that,
count. Still counts.
yeah, so Boom Harden has not won any championships. However, there is one technicality I will cling to for my entire life. There was a WSU show that took place in 2018, and they did something where Marie Manic was facing the Shook Crew, Bryce Donovan and Bobby Orlando, and she picked somebody out of the crowd, a la me. And the match was for the WSU Tag Team Championships. I was filling in for Pelmy before that point. So, per technicality, I'm unbeaten as one half of the WSU Tag Team Champions, and I'm holding on to that with every fiber of my being.
You're like the Nicholas at one point. You got Nicholas.
Yes, I got Nicholas.
You came in, you won a title. You're like, here, that's yours. I want to go now.
No, on that night I was random boy, and
I
I'll
love
hold
that.
on to that forever.
Now, besides CZW, the Jersey wrestling scene is unbelievable. I thought I was spoiled in the Pennsylvania region with amazing talent and places to work and talent to see, but like you really don't get an idea of how big the world is in general when you get out of your 25-mile bubble, and it's even crazier when you add independent wrestling into that. And that 25-mile bubble goes from maybe 1,000 guys to the Northeast PA to another 10,000 guys in the Jersey scene. Just within a rock throw of driving distance, there's like 15 like crazy promotions that are good and have amazing talent. And there's promotions and talents in schools who don't even share the same roster. And the talent pool in Jersey is deep.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I believe iron sharpens iron, where because you know that you got hitters left and right from all these different places, you need to bring the best version of you that you can possibly bring that night. Like it's a healthy competition, not in terms of like trying to be detrimental to one another, but more so wanting the best from somebody else to bring out the best in yourself.
Mm-hmm. And now, who are some people that you may have squared off with in your career here that probably pulled that out of you the most, like opponent wise, or rivalry, or just people in locker rooms?
I definitely believe Mike Walker. Mike Walker is a CW guy. Joe MCW is definitely somebody that's bring the most out of me. Definitely want to say the SAT. I've been fortunate enough to face the SAT in conjunction with CMD, that is Deshaun Pratt and Lindsay Dorado, and Samael Falsey. Samael Falsey from We Are One Wrestling. We're actually running that back April 30th. That match with me and Samael, and those are just a few people off the top of my head. There's been like a tons more that just aren't coming to mind right now, but they're gonna come in like full train stop, like left and right, left and right, left and right. I could go on all day about so many people that just bring the best out of me.
Yeah, SIT is a great great fucking name to put out there. They are the innovators of independent wrestling and essentially what we're watching today on TV. They don't get enough credit that they deserve. Now, bring up a great point. CMD is not just a tag team. You guys kind of have another member of CMD. And you want to talk about another guy in the business who's been around a long time and just a mind you can pick. I got to work with him at a meet and greet at a promotion PPW one time. Lindsay, what a dude.
Yeah, Lindsay Dorado is very smart and super intelligent. And I did not know that. I don't think he was going to be a complete dummy by any means when I first met him, but I was just like, he just pours out like knowledge or like very like wise, sage things to say. And when you hear him talk, he sounds like that, like very much like a sensei in a way, but like it's just a great dude to like really talk to and wrestle with.
Yeah. And he just kind of announced recently that was it next year or sometime this year he's going to give up the mask and start wrestling without it.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I remember during some private conversations he mentioned the want to just, I want to say, be a new him, to have the viewers and the spectators like really understand who Lindsay Dorado is. And a lot of times with masked wrestlers, it's like their pure essence of like who they are as an athlete that gets lost with what they're presenting.
Yeah. And one of the things I've learned with professional wrestling, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's a very, very rare occurrence. Like everyone who wears a mask are all good-looking people under that mask. Like ladies already are. Lindsay's already a thirst trap to a lot of ladies out there. But wait till that mask comes off, ladies, because you are in for a treat. He's a good-looking dude. He walked into promotion. I'm like, who's that? And like, that's Lindsay. I was like, wow, why does why would he put a mask on that? He's a good-looking guy.
Hey, no comment, man.
I'm comfortable with my sexuality to admit when someone's a good-looking person. Every mask, guy's killing it. But and once again, Deshaun and Lindsay both come from that Chikara background, so it's really cool that once again you're kind of putting yourself into some good company with that crew. CMD, man, it's a tough ass crew, man. I love that. That's sick. So now being a part of CMD, we're kind of tying it into current day, which we did. If there's anything else in between there, like moments of your career that you want to talk about, please interject them. But where would you say your boom harden of those times to the boom harden of the CMD of what we see today is different, and where have you grown, and what has joining this stable of great people done for you in your career?
I think that a lot of my early work was done by an artist who was not too sure of themselves. I used to be very timid, where I think being with CMD has given me the confidence to just be as outlandish and boisterous as I possibly want to be. Because I realized that's what they want. They don't want to be some facade version of you. They want you. And with CMD, I've been able to like be the best boom.
Yeah. That, like I said, you said iron sharper iron, man, and like I said, you hit the absolute wrestling jackpot of a stable. And like I said, you're no slouch yourself, man. People look at that stable, like if the old into like the old school fans of Chikara and all that, and see Lindsay and Deshaun, and you hold your own with them, man. You are fucking good in that ring. You work, your work ethic is so good. Like I said, man, every match I've seen CMD wise, like both of you, I've never seen the full trio yet, but I've just watching you two work, it's magical. I've been screaming from the rooftops of promotions, like if you need a tag team, hit them up. They're awesome to watch.
Yeah, CMD is actually going to be in full trios action at Wrestling Is Now on March 31st from the Bridgefield Building, the Mecca.
It's going to be. You guys are going against SAT, right?
Us, SAT, and the Miracle Ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy. That's a fun promotion to win. That's essentially SAT's run that, correct?
Yes, I do so believe. Yes.
Yeah, I might be a ride for something that day. I think maybe another injured Philly Mike is selling merch there. The SATs has been super supportive of him and being like, "Hey, come on up and set up a table and try to make some cash." So I might be his ride up there. So if I get to see that match in person, pretty excited about it. But yeah, that's gonna be dope. You three were like, man. I no words. I just can't wait to see it. What do we got? Dustin Waller and Kylan King. I'm not sure what the context of that. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
That's the miracle ones.
The miracle ones. Yeah. Kylan King. Wow. Yeah, man. So, kind of breaking into the SSW scene. What let's put that promotion over, because that's where our common ground is. What do you think of that locker room now that you've been there? I think it's your second show, and kind of really feeling out the vibe of that promotion. I can't wait till we get to do it during the busy season of the Jersey Shore. Right now, we're kind of in like, it's just pretty much the locals for the most part, but I can't wait to hit it when it's like the tourists are all there, and just to see what that promotion can really bring to the table once we have the population of the Rio Grande, Jersey Shore area quadruples in every single weekend that you can imagine. But how is that locker room vibe compared to other locker rooms you've been to, and what do you get out of SSW?
So Short Star Wrestling is a very positive locker room. Like, everybody's always in the back. We're always cracking jokes, and I think that we're really feeding off the energy and the knowledge that, like, we're basically building a scene unto ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're running in an area that hasn't had wrestling in a long time, and it's really fun that, like, we get to create like a culture of wrestling. Like, you go to like different companies and, like, like those fans are those fans. And yeah, they'll branch out every now and again, but it's like they come here and they're engaged with like what that company is, and be able to do that with Short Star is something that's really cool. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I will say, if my favorite part about those fans is those kids. Man, those kids are nuts. They are the craziest fans I've ever seen in my life. They are crafty too. I've seen some of the craziest shit. They out-carnied so many wrestlers that day. Those kids were crafty.
Oh. You have no idea how crafty kids are. It's ridiculous.
I heard a story. I'm not putting names out, but kids got free snacks. They were trying to barter their free food for 8x10s. And for some wrestlers, it worked.
Yeah, it's great.
Then they would buy one 8x10, and then they would flip it over and have every other wrestler sign it. You know what I mean? Like, they were getting their arms signed. Like, I don't know. The cool part about that is just what every talent brought to the table that day, and those kids being there. Like, they made lifelong wrestling fans. Like, I think most of those kids in that building, because of the environment and what that locker room brings, and everyone having the understanding of, like, we're building a community in this area, and just overall feeling like, yo, if I was a kid, like, this is what I would like. This would make me pop. This would make me a wrestling fan for life. And I think that's being bred into that audience, and it's so much fun.
It really is so much fun. I'm really excited for what we do with Short Star Wrestling coming up.
Yeah. So you guys can come check us out in June for Monsoon 2. Just check out Short Star Wrestling on all social media. Hopefully they get some tag team titles in there. So we have a current heavyweight champion, and we have a no limits champion, and hopefully we get some tag team titles in there, because there's some fun tag teams going on in that promotion between Bad Company and you guys and people who just been circling through. But hopefully we get some tag team gold there. But I would say one of my favorite things also about that promotion, and to give another guy some of his roses here, is Vincenzo. Whether he likes to maybe take the badge or not, what a locker room leader. And I feel like he's been really holding that torch down and motivating people to bring the best out of themselves, but also stay true to yourself. And I think that carries from the locker room to what we see in the ring as well.
Oh yeah, Vincenzo. Vincenzo's actually know me from one of my first wrestling jobs. I refereed an SWF show back in 2017 as a referee, and he was there. And I accidentally mistook him for the person who was going to pay me, so I bum rushed him, kind of like, "Hey." No, in all seriousness, Vinny's just always been very positive and supportive of me, and it's very good to see him get a run as a main star attraction kind of dude. Like, it's very good.
Yeah, like I said, I've only have known or seen stuff of Vinny since being a member of this promotion, and he's just a good human, another good person, that, like, a veteran that you would want to be around in this business and pick his mind and learn from. But all right, so last wrestling question, and then I'm going to dive into some other stuff here. If anyone has any questions in the chat or anything they'd like to add, please, the chat is open. Have some fun here. But I like to also put some people over. We've been doing it the whole time. If you were to say right now, other talent on the scene, Jersey, anywhere you've worked, that people should seek out, should watch their content, should go support this person, who are some names out there right now that you would give them the Boom Harden stamp of approval?
Aaron Ash, Vinny Talata, the Rep, um, Daniel Alexander,
Whew.
Rocket.
I may have booked Daniel Alexander for April, so I'm little teaser there, little teaser. What a great guy. Rocket too. Daniel Alexander and Rocket, every time I'm doing commentary, I keep saying to them, I said, circle their names because they're not going to be around long. They are going to get opportunities and they are going to take the fuck off. They are so good.
Dude, there's just so many people. Like so many, like Matt Quay. Matt Quay is awesome. Ian Bush as well.
Ian Bush is a little dirtball, but he's a
yeah, but like there's still like so many people.
Yeah.
I can't even give everybody justice right now.
Yeah, like I said, that Jersey scene, man, between those major schools that come out of there, it's hard to handpick, but they are some absolute great ones. Now, besides professional wrestling, I noticed the blanket behind you, and banger after banger albums. So I see that music is probably a big influence to you. If you had 5 Desert Island albums, what are you taking with you?
I'm bringing License to Ill. I'm bringing Enter the 36 Chambers.
Nothing to fuck with.
Yeah. I'm bringing Chocolate Starfish.
What?
Yeah. I'm bringing the Blue Album.
Wow, Chocolate Star. I would have never in a million years would have thought you said Chocolate Starfish.
Bro, does nobody like Limp Bizkit?
Dude, that's a guilty pleasure. I love it. So my buddy has a brewery. It's literally right here. I try not to wear it because people get the wrong impression because they see like just this and they're like, "Bro, is that who you are? Are you a red hat dude?" But it's supposedly it's a Limp Bizkit reference. They made a beer called Dad Vibes, but it's actually Tony Deppin's brewery, Pilgaroo. But they made a hat that's supposed to be Limp Bizkit reference because Limp Bizkit's everyone's guilty pleasure.
I have no guilt.
Yeah. I've never seen them live, but I heard their last tour was really, really fun. All right, we were at what, 3 or 4? Go ahead.
Yeah, about
the Blue album. Yeah.
Blue album.
Where you left off.
Weezer.
Love Weezer. I just seen Weezer live not too long ago too. Love Weezer.
Yeah, and probably Crazy Sexy Cool from TLC.
Good. All right, here's a TLC question. How you ranking them 1 through 3?
Oh my god. I think I'm definitely like I want to go T-Boz, Left Eye, and then Chili.
You're putting Chili in the bottom? See, Chili's my number 1.
It's so hard just in terms of like whose voice I like hearing the most and what they're doing in the song. I think T-Boz is definitely just my go-to.
Yeah, Chili was one of my first crushes growing up. Like I seen Chili, I was like, whoa, that's a beautiful woman right there. I don't know why Usher ever cheated on her. He's crazy. Chili and Maya growing up. First time I seen Maya in Ghetto Superstar, I was like, what? Yep, they're my 2 favorites. But yeah, no, great fucking albums. Did you make is that a blanket you got made or you bought that? That is so dope.
It's actually a gift from my mom. It was a shower curtain that we repurposed as like a little backdrop.
Nice. I love it. It's super. So I had when I first started doing podcasts, I would do it in person, and I had like a 10-foot long podcast table, and it was just completely sticker bombed with like all pop culture stickers. And like when people were nervous at the table, they would just kind of look down at it and like pick out a sticker or two, and they would like, I don't know, it was like a comfort thing. So the whole time I'm talking, I'm like reading the albums. I'm like, oh, so good. The Beastie Boys, Dre. Oh my, it's just sick. So other music, like what are like kind of would you play any instruments? Are you musically inclined at all, or just something you like to listen to?
This has always been something I've just like always liked to listen to. I think I wasn't as sonically inclined when I was about I want to say my elementary school years, but like right around the time I started becoming a middle schooler, I like really like started like expanding my music taste as much as possible. Just listening to like everything that I could that's not country.
Yeah, I can, as I'm getting older, I can mess with some country, but not like, I don't know, like country is tough. It's really tough. Like I can listen to old Cash, and then like the new stuff like Zach Brown and
like I like Roy Orensby. Like I like stuff like that.
Yeah, and Chris Stapleton I think has a good voice. I just think the country people who stand out and don't sound like the rest of them, I think that's a big problem for country for me. Everyone just sounds the same. Like insert twang. I think kind of hip hop is like that for me right now. Like the new age hip hop, I feel like the old man who's like, you don't make music like they did in the 2000s. But like all newer rap, everyone just kind of is like the same cookie cutter insert what we have to talk about in this topic, and also just stay in the same type. Like, there's this one dude who's out now. I listened to. I was like, "Yo, T-Pain's back," and they're like, "No, that's not T-Pain. It's another." I'm like, "He sounds just like T-Pain. He's like ripping off T-Pain." And like the 3 songs that my wife was listening to are literally just rip-offs of songs from the 2000s, like complete rip-offs. Like oh shit, "Turn Me On" by Kevin Little. Like they took that exact same song, beat and everything, and just repurposed it. And then the "I Don't Want to Know" or something like that, like the Mario Joe song or whatever. Like it was redone a bunch of times, but that song completely repurposed. It's like it's tough now. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and I'm getting that bitterness of like this new generation sucks. But
Maybe there's I feel like there's a lot of good rappers out there right now.
oh, there definitely is a lot of good. But the stuff that I'm hearing, like the new age stuff, is just tough for me. Like I love Kendrick, Cole, like stuff like that. But I don't know. Some of them it's taking a little longer for me to adapt to. At least in like the 90s and 2000s, hip hop and rap, like we kind of pick on some of them because everyone sounded the same. Like if you listen to Fabulous, you knew it was a Fabulous song right off the bat. If you listen to Ja Rule or 50, you knew it was Ja Rule or 50 because everyone had their own distinct style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's more so like where you're getting your content from. It's like I think like if you listen like strictly radio rap music, you're gonna get like a lot of the same stuff like repeated. But I think that if you like actually like pick, let's say any random artist, like let's say G Herbo or somebody, you're gonna find like music that leads you to better music, from a whole bunch of different people.
Absolutely, yeah. If you had to pick like a style, a rap style, like are you East Coast, Midwest, down South, East Coast, West Coast? Where do you lie?
East Coast.
Yeah, East Coast all day. That New York, Philly style.
Yeah.
It grabs you. Now besides music, I mean, like you said, you ever partake? You ever make any music or anything like that?
No, not as of yet.
I get drunk and get on stage sometimes. That's about the only thing I do. You know, sometimes people hand me a live microphone and I'm hammered and they play music and I know lyrics. I just memorize lyrics. I don't know why. Just like I'm like a human iPod. So I'll just get on stage and make an idiot out of myself. Karaoke nights, I'm the best. Just put some booze in me and we're gonna have a good time. Now, so besides music, movies, video games, are you into the pop culture stuff like that? I kind of see the Nuketown Dragon, so there's some video games in that little reference down there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've played Call of Duty before, loved it. Played Grand Theft Auto a lot growing up. I've been playing GTA 5 since I was 3 years old.
You're probably wrong. You're probably not wrong. It's been out that long. Been remastered 100 times.
Yeah, I mostly play Madden with my little brother a lot.
And who's your team?
Eagles.
You're an Eagles fan?
Yes, I'm an Eagles fan. Proud.
I'm definitely not an Eagles fan. But they have grown on me just living in Pennsylvania. I've hated the Eagles my entire life. I'm a Washington fan. I'm a Commanders fan.
That's awesome. Yeah. Eagles was actually the first word I ever learned how to spell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you're from Jersey. Jets is pretty easy.
Nah.
Yeah, but nobody wants to admittedly be a Jets fan. It's not fun.
No, you'd be surprised, man. There's some Jets like riding.
Oh, they're diehard. Yeah, they're diehard. Yeah. You gotta be into your team to be a Jets fan because that's a same with the Commanders. That's a lot of years of disappointment, you know.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like the Jets are due for like something good. I just don't see it coming. I don't know, but Sauce Gardner's dope. Like I love Sauce Gardner.
Yeah. No, other video games. So you said you like the GTAs. Have you been following the updates of the new one that's coming out? Like all the shit that got leaked and everything?
Not really, only because like I try to hold on to opening day surprises as much as possible.
I can't wait for it. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, and like I feel like in modern times, like a lot of people like they're like so into like spoilers and Easter eggs and stuff like that, like trying to like solve the puzzle before like you even get the puzzle 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when by the time you get the puzzle, you know what pieces go where. I'm vibe with that.
Yeah, I'm actually. That's a great point. It's in everything. Pro wrestling. Everybody wants to know the dirt sheets. They want to know everything before it happens, and it does take it out of you. Like, especially if you're in an industry where, like, I was doing a pop culture podcast for a while, so you're always trying to find the news to talk about or be the first to say, like, "Oh, I heard about this" type deal. But it's really not. It's not. Sometimes it's fun to just to step back and just be the fan again. You know what I mean? And not be in the know of everything.
I know it's definitely like a feeling that way. We just need to get back. Like you don't need to look up all the spoilers for every movie you want to go see. You don't need that.
Yeah. Is there any movies coming out you want to go see?
Creed 3.
Creed 3?
Creed 3 and Scream 6. Those are very
We
important.
are. I think next Friday that's our date night. Me and the wife, we're gonna go see Scream 6.
I
Probably
know.
that's content we're making for the channel very soon. Is movie like pop culture reviews, but specifically horror reviews. Me and my wife are gonna start doing horror reviews. So I'll like throw the GoPro in the dashboard of the car and then drive up and talk about Scream 5 because we're gonna do a Scream 5 and a Scream 6. So we're gonna talk about Scream 5 and anticipation for Scream 6, and on the way home talk about Scream 6 without. Maybe it's probably a spoiler alert episode podcast, but like we're gonna talk about the movie and what we thought of it. But I'm pretty pumped about it. I liked Scream 5 a lot. Scream's probably my favorite horror franchise, to be honest. The first one, Scream 1 is my favorite horror movie of all time, and it's very close with Halloween. The original Halloween is that and Scream are my two favorite horror movies.
Yeah, dude, I love Scream. Yo, Scream is actually my favorite scary movie. Like, I love Scream. It came like I started finding it at the right time in my life,
Yeah.
and like every time I was on TV, just
part.
kept watching it.
So what did you think of part 5?
I love Scream 5.
I hated the end.
I understand that, but it's just
It was rushed.
yeah, like it definitely needed more room to breathe. But overall, I love the movie.
It was a masterpiece until the end, and then I was like, who booked this shit?
Yeah, it's like you're an A all the way through, then you end up being. I'll give it a solid B minus if anything.
Yeah. Who was did you nail the killers? Did you know who? Well, spoiler alert, there's 2 killers. Did you know who the killers were without giving anything away?
Half. I knew who one of them were.
I knew one too. The other one, no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to say anything unless people hasn't seen it. Go see Scream 5. It was really good. I thought the ending was a little rushed, but overall, great movie. I can't wait for part 6.
Scream 6 comes out March 10th.
Is it the 10th? Oh yeah, it is the 10th.
Yes, 10th. Yeah.
I still have to go see what's the new Marvel one out right now? Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah, I'll probably wait till that hits Disney Plus. I try not to go to Marvel movies in theaters anymore because those fans annoy the hell out of me in theaters.
Oh, Endgame was. I feel like Endgame was the worst for me.
Yeah.
No. Infinity War. Infinity War was the worst experience.
People crying in the theater, like, come on, get over it.
I get it. Like, no, because I love the MCU movies. That's been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
But I can like I cried during certain parts as well. But it's like I wasn't like obnoxious about it. Or like people were downright obnoxious. Same thing for like for No Way Home for Spider-Man. That was obnoxious movie going experience. And that like sucked to say because I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite fictional character.
Yeah, he's up there for me too. So DC for me, I'm Batman through and through. Batman's my overall number 1 superhero. That's my best. And then I think following that would be Spider-Man. Following Spider-Man would be Daredevil. I've always liked Daredevil, and then Black Panther is right behind that. Dude, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Dude, I cried like a baby.
Bro, I actually have not seen it yet. I'm backed up right now. Like, dude, I still gotta watch Miss Marvel. I still gotta watch She-Hulk. I still haven't finished Moon Knight. It's like I just need to like
Moon Knight was good.
In a room and just like
Moon Knight is a show though you cannot fuck around on your phone. You know how some people like and they just kind of do like that number where they're kind of doing. Well, you can't do it with Moon Knight. It's so all over the place. You'll get confused and lost, and you'll like if people say I watched Moon Knight, I didn't get it. I was like, you weren't paying attention. It's all over the place. It deals with like multiple personality. It's Moon Knight, so there's multiple personalities in there. You don't know who's who with when the character changes, and then it deals with the supernatural and the afterlife and gods, and it's so much, but it's so good. I really, really liked it. But Wakanda Forever, boy, get emotionally ready because it's gonna beat the dog shit out of you. The opening scene, you're gonna be bawling your eyes out. If you see, for me, Black Panther was my favorite Marvel movie they've made so far. It was the first time I felt like a villain meant something, but also a villain that you kind of rooted for because you're like, he's not totally wrong. You know what I mean? And then just part 2, when the introduction of Namor is fantastic.
Yeah. So we were finally getting Namor.
Yeah. Dude, wow. Namor is just murdered anything that DC is going to do with Aquaman. No one's going to give a shit about Aquaman anymore.
Come on. I'll care about Aquaman. I'll care about Aquaman 2 when it drops.
Not after you see Namor.
All
How
right.
they did Underwater and Namor and the whole nine, just as a character, Namor is a badass. He's so good. So good. I hope DC puzzles it together with this new reboot, but
Why
I'm
would
not.
dude, I don't want there to be another reboot.
Yeah, they're gonna reboot the whole thing. So supposedly the new Flash movie is going to reboot the entire thing, and they're gonna recast everybody and go from there.
All right.
Yeah, but one of the cool things they did announce that I'm pumped for is they're gonna bring back Swamp Thing, but make it like a horror movie.
Ooh.
I'm all for that. I love Swamp Thing.
Okay, yeah. All right, that sounds good.
And the first Batman movie they announced is Brave and the Bold. So it's going to be Batman and Damian. First time ever father and son Batman on screen.
I wonder how they're going to introduce Damien too.
Yeah. I hope they just don't fuck it up. I love Damian Wayne so much. But all right, we're getting close to the end here, brother. I appreciate what a blast. We learned about your wrestling journey and your career and all that stuff. So I just want to touch on the end here. We talked about a little bit about your partner Deshaun, and I think that's a great way to end it and stuff like that. Because like I said, he's someone I definitely got to reach out to. Once I get some other people, I'm waiting for one or two people's dates, and then I'm going to give Deshaun like an open schedule to pick from, but to come talk to. But man, he's someone. I told him a little bit, but like, every time I'm like down or bummed, or like there was a moment in the business where I was like, I got around negative people, and it was the worst fucking thing that ever happened to me in the wrestling business, because you just get around bitter wrestling vets, and they can take you out of this business quicker than anything else, just getting in a negative mind state. But Deshaun, man, everything like the I watched him from PPW just from now go through, he came from the car accident, rebuilt himself, then broke his arm, then rebuilt himself. And just someone who every single time he gets so close to like the top, he has a setback, and the guy just fucking stays mentally tough and just a positive beacon of light in this business. And to come back up, man, just love the dude to death. And I wanted to once again give him his roses. And I'm super happy for a guy like you to be partnering up with him and having like that big brother, little brother thing, and him kind of just like I said, man, that is the gold mine of the independent scene that you're rubbing elbows with him, and then add Lindsay on top of that, who's made it to the TV, who's made it to the top. Just trained Mercedes Moné in her debut in Japan, like, bro, amazing. Like your squad is going to be, I think, if you guys stick with it and keep doing what you're doing, is on some legendary shit. Like, I think you guys are going to fucking move some mountains, man. And I can't wait to keep watching the journey. And hopefully I'm there for most of the calls. You know what I mean? Especially SSW and other promotions. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm super proud of you. And I can't wait to watch you guys just collect titles everywhere, because you're going to fucking take over the wrestling scene.
Appreciate that, man. It's awesome doing my boys.
Yeah. Anything in closing you want to put out? Anything you want to plug, talk about?
Yeah. So on March 3rd, tomorrow, when is there now? Friday night, March 3rd, over at Rancocas Valley Regional High School, CCW is having a benefit show for the school's project graduation. That's a post-grad event, like a post-grad party that's in-house, that's based around discouraging teens from going out and drunk driving and doing illicit activities after graduation. Mm-hmm. And all the proceeds from the ticket sales that are happening, the show is tomorrow at the school at 7 o'clock at Rancocas Valley Regional High School in Mount Holly. All the proceeds go towards project graduation.
That is not a joke, too. Exactly what you guys are building right there. Literally, it wasn't my graduation night. He was a class or two younger than me. One of the nicest kids I've ever met in my life. Wasn't even drunk, but needed a ride home from a graduation party and got in the car with somebody else, and he's no longer with us. Everybody in that car should have died. He's the only one that did, and he was the only one that was sober. And it affected our whole town and people to this day. So it's not worth it. Don't call somebody. I'm telling you, you'd much rather get chewed up by your parents for underage drinking than getting into a car and hurting yourself or somebody else.
There's definitely like a big thing that we're doing over at CCW. The following Sunday, March 5th, over in Harvard Grace, Maryland, we're having the Limelight event, with the main event being the Chris Cashmore ladder match that CMD is taking part in. And March 11th for UW Elite, we're doing Setting the Standard, where CMD is going to take on the Slime Balls. And then after that, we've got March 25th, where you're going to see us at Titan Championship Wrestling. And March 26th, you'll see us at MFW. We're taking on CRX. That's Critical X Revolution. And then March 31st, you will see us at WIN where we take on Miracle Ones and the SATs. So
Actually,
I
what?
think I
Okay.
have everything.
Who is a tag team or even a solo thing on the scene that you would like to work?
Funny you say that because actually somebody that I have wanted to work and somebody I actually am working for Pro Wrestling R on March 19th is Andy Brown, Big Daddy Andy Brown.
Interesting.
Just as well, some tag teams that we want to wrestle are FTR and the Wolves.
Ooh, Davey.
Yep.
They just announced Bloodsport 9. Davey Richards versus John Moxley. Take my fucking Josh Barnett versus Timothy Thatcher.
That's happening. Oh my God.
I love that promotion. So much fun. Yeah, man, there's a lot of fun tag teams. I mean, if I could just top my head that I would love to see you guys work, you guys in main event would be a lot of fun. I love main event a lot. Trying to there's so many. Well, either one of the main events, because I think the other main event change their name now. There's something else.
I believe so. There's also the new backseats. I definitely want to wrestle them.
Yeah, there's so many good fucking tag teams. There's so much out there. Flying Balls is a fun one. That'd be one I'd definitely search. I found out about them through somebody in the chat here. SWAGM. They work a lot up there, but also Contest of Champions. They were really fun to watch there. That was a cool event, man. Just kind of seeing talent from all over the area. Just go in there and just do like a seminar and just try to put themselves over and work and get to see them watch some promos and in-ring stuff. It was just such a fun. It was a long day, but it was a really fun day. But boom. Thank you again so much for your time and doing this podcast, man. I cannot wait, like I said, to watch your journey. Anytime the door's open, if there's anything you want to promote, put over, I'm always here, man. Even if you want to come on, just bullshit and let's talk Scream or some other movie, come join. You know what I mean? The door's always open. You're a good dude, man. And like I said, you're definitely a bright spot. Ever since meeting you and then working with you ever since, I see your name on the card, I circle it and I go, man, I can't wait to see him at the show. Like you're a good dude, and cannot wait to continue this journey. And I'm happy I've met you, man.
Thank you. I'm very happy I met you.
Yeah. All right. We'll let that. Like I said, links below for myself as well as Boom and to support other people. Make sure you check them out. If you're listening to this in the audio, please leave a review if you made it this far. Some kind words. Tell us what you thought. If there's a question maybe we missed, we can put it on social media and he can answer it. Or you just shoot a message like, hey, I heard you on the podcast. This is something I wanted to know. Interaction is great. I'm telling you, fans, it's a great way to stay connected with some of your favorite talent. Support independent wrestling because every single person you're watching right now on TV, except maybe 3 who found their way in because of their physical prowess, like a Brock Lesnar, have pretty much came from the independent scene, and 96% of them are all from the Northeast Pennsylvania scene of everybody you're watching on TV right now. So you never know who's going to be coming and going. And the best way to see someone before they made it big is show up at an independent show and just show them that love. But we'll let you guys go. We'll see you guys on Tuesday when we have on MIT, Mr. Intellectual Tavius on the show. He will be on Tuesday. And then the rest of the month is just completely stacked with more talent. I'm very excited to talk to MIT. And we'll see you guys next time on the ABJ Podcast. Here's some music by Billy Trey. We'll see you soon.